as the leader of the house, you are saying to people, call me out.
Mm-hmm.
Call me out when I do things that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And that is the difference between masculinity and modern masculinity.
Mm-hmm. Hey guys, welcome back to the Men of Iron podcast. At Men of Iron, we want you to know that you don't have to do life alone. We exist to change culture one man at a time, and we do that by pairing guys up with mentors. So if you're listening today and you don't have a mentor and you would like one, please reach out to us. You can reach us at info@menofiron.org. We'd be happy to talk to you. We'd be happy to try to pair you up with a mentor. We want you to thrive in your core five. That's your faith, family, friends, fitness, and finances. We believe that if you just set small goals in each one of those areas and start pursuing those goals, you will become the man that God has intended you to be. Today on the podcast, we're joined by Dan Grove from the UK. So this is a long distance podcast today. We're excited to be with Dan. Dan is the author of Strong Enough to Fall. So Dan, I'm thrilled that you're here with us this morning, and welcome to the podcast, man.
Hello, Ryan. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So Dan, why don't you, just to start off, why don't you tell us a little bit about the book, and then we'll dive into why you decided to write this and why right now.
The reason I wrote this book was my life got to a point where whatever I built from childhood as Dan Grove just didn't work anymore. Mm-hmm. Life became empty. I was very disciplined, very goal-orientated. And then at some point, my life just went, no, this is not living. And a lot of things that I'm sure we'll get into started happening in my life that just brought me down, all the way down the fall to the bottom, and then started picking myself up. And when I was down there, I started writing this book. And it is available on Amazon. It's also available on draft to digital.
Okay.
If you want to go get it there. And yes, that's the reason for the book.
So tell us a little bit about what you had built. What were you doing? What happened that it fell apart?
I grew up in South Africa, very stoic, very conservative, very strict environment. And as a child, at the age of 12, my father passed away.
Okay.
And male figure out of my life, and mom took on both roles. And shortly after the funeral, I got to the point where I needed support. I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
And as a 12-year-old, you know that emotions are real, but you don't know what to do with them yet. And I remember very clearly standing one evening, looking at my mom doing the ironing. And she just looked up at me with that look in her eyes, not now. And I stood and I realized, turned to the wall, and I said to myself, don't ask. Mm-hmm. Don't be too much for people. Mm-hmm. And I kept that promise for 40 years. And then at some point, a lady came into my life, and it was bliss. It was absolutely amazing. And just prior to that, I was in a long-term relationship where I realized, yes, everything is fine. I'm good outside. My career is successful. I've got friends, and I ride motorbike and all sorts of nice things. It looks fantastic from the outside, but inside it echoes. This hollow. There was nothing in there. I wasn't living. And then this lady entered my life, and as I say, absolute bliss, absolute breath of fresh air. And it went well for a long time until it didn't. Until I started realizing, this lady is not in my life forever. She's not here to complete me. She's here to undo me. And she became my mirror. And everything that I taught myself, all the masks that I put on from the age of 12, she just started mirroring them back to me. As in, where's your father figure, your mother figure, your desire to be attached, your desire to be wanted, to be chosen, all of those kind of things. And over time, I just collapsed inwards. I just looked at it and I thought, the career can still carry on from here. I need to figure out who I am and how I want to live. I need to break myself down and build myself up again.
If you don't mind, what was that process like? Because obviously it was a painful experience. So what kinds of things were you going through at that time?
A lot of doubt.
Yeah.
A lot of insecurity. You don't trust yourself. You go through that fall, and the fall is just a free fall. For me, it was a case of, I just need to get rid of all these things in my life, not thinking what comes next. Everything that triggered me, I just looked at and went, no, can't be dealing with that one now. What's the next? Until I hit the bottom. And then I started going, right, I meditate a lot. I'm quiet quite a lot on my own. Mm-hmm. And that's then when I started working through these things, working through what does that mean when I get triggered for that particular point? Mm-hmm. What does it actually mean to me? And I started reading up, Google is my friend, etc. Spoke to people, but to talk to a person when you're at that level, it's quite difficult to express yourself because you're so emotional. I'd rather sit and work online and figure it out and then go to somebody and go, this happened, I figured this out, help me put this together.
Yeah.
And then take it from there,
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier when we introduced Andy's Man Club, and that's where I did that. Mm-hmm. Where I took all the bits that were broken, all the bits that I thought could work, and I took that there, and I said to the guys, this happened, this is what I think, help me.
Yeah.
And the brotherhood was just incredible.
Uh-huh.
Bring you up, take you literally by the hand, and look you in the eyes and go, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be okay.
Were you scared or intimidated by that step? So you're talking about how you kind of process it yourself. I think that's probably how every man tries to handle things, I would guess. Hey, I'm going to try real hard to figure this out on my own, because the last thing I want to do is end up crying in a room full of men. That seems like that's definitely against the code. Were you nervous about that? What were you going through at that time?
Nervous doesn't begin to describe it.
Yeah.
Petrified.
Yeah.
Petrified. I mean, I've got male friends that I've had for years, 25, 27 years. And there's one that I can today sit and talk to him and start crying.
Yeah.
The others, it's not the environment to do it with or in. But when I went to Andy's Man Club, I literally stood at the door. I didn't even go in until somebody went, come in. And I walked in and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And he says, we know why you're here. And I was like, how would you know that? And then I was like, sit down, talk to us. Just the welcome feeling that you got. But yes, was I scared? Absolutely. Was I scared to publish this book? I postponed for a month.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't click publish.
Yeah.
Because the vulnerability in that is something that you've got to get used to before you put it out there.
So you're sharing from your own experience that it was terrifying, petrifying to go and be open about this. And you have a book about it. So, the book is explaining all those things. I'm assuming you would believe that's not unique to you. Like, a lot of men are dealing with those feelings and those concerns. Why do you think guys are afraid of kind of that inward transparency, that vulnerability? What leads to that?
That's a really, really good question. And it's something that I needed to, or wanted to figure out as well. We are scared to look inside because from a very, very young age, we are taught we are blokes, we are men.
Yeah.
You're strong, you keep it together, you handle things, and you don't show your emotions. Mm-hmm. And the problem with that masculinity is that it is what is generally perceived in the market or in the world as, he's just a bloke. He's just an aggressive bloke or an angry person.
Yeah.
What men, or what I didn't realize either, was when you start looking in and you start looking at, why do I get angry? And you look in and you go, that's untreated, that's unhandled, that's unlooked at. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've not looked at these things to, why does it trigger me? What is unresolved within me that needs to, or that triggers me the way that it does?
It's really easy, I think, for men, even for myself, to try to deal with all the external things. Like this is an issue I need to deal with. This is a problem I need to solve. Here's how I can fix that. I have a plan A, B, C, D. I've got it. I have it figured out. What gets really odd is that internal reflection. I mean, you shared earlier about some of it goes back to when you were 12 and your mom was ironing at the ironing board. For some reason, that's where it starts to get scary, because then it's like, well, now the issue is me, not all these external issues I'm trying to deal with.
Absolutely. And the moment you realize that you got to be truthful to yourself, you should stop blaming anything and everything. The moment you look internally, it's not her fault. It's not mom's fault. It's not the ex-wife or the wife's fault or the girlfriend or the dog or whoever. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
Look in here. What do you find in here? And that's where you start building. And if you clear enough in your head and you can build with that truth that you find in there, what an amazing feeling it is. And that's then where that vulnerability and the balance comes from between masculinity and vulnerability. I know why I'm saying this.
Yeah.
Because I'm sensitive to it, and this is the way I'm portraying it into the world.
So I want to dig into this vulnerability piece, because I think it can come across like, okay, Dan's saying I can't be a man anymore. Now I have to be soft. I have to be, like a wimp or something. I don't think that's what you're saying, right? Like, you don't actually have to give up on the driven, action-oriented, problem-solving. It's just a different lens that you're using to be a better man in the process.
Yes. It is not what other people think of you.
Yeah.
It is who you are. I am the same man that I was 2 years ago, physically, but the way that I project myself into the world now is different because I know differently. I've learned different things within me. I don't go sitting in the office and cry when somebody's rude to me. That's not what I mean by being vulnerable. Is being sensitive to what's going on out there. How does it trigger me? What haven't I looked at in here? And still be that man that can lead, can protect, can provide, all of that, but do it from a vulnerable point of view, as far as I've recognized that I don't need to be harsh and loud to do this. I can be the solid man because underneath, I now know where I am. That's what I mean by that.
In a lot of ways, when men start to discover those things, you're actually an even stronger, more effective man. And I think some of the fears that guys deal with is, well, if I go there, if I deal with that thing, if I am, disappointed with something in my past, then I'm going to be a softer guy. I'm going to show these cracks in my foundation that everybody's just going to overrun me. Universally, I would say guys, when they start to deal with these things and start to share these things with other men, they actually realize, I'm actually a stronger man now. I'm more effective at what is out in front of me, and I'm more fit for the task, not less.
Agree with you 100%, because what used to trigger you, what used to make you that loud man or male, if I can call it that, doesn't trigger you anymore because you've looked at that.
Yeah.
My dad dying at the age of 12. As I sit here today, of course I miss him.
Yeah.
But I don't ponder about the idea of, I didn't have a male role model. That's not in my mind anymore because it used to worry me.
Yeah.
Am I being the right man in the world? Because I didn't have a role model, but you deal with those things. And one other thing that you just said that I just want to comment on, if I may, is you say that when you start talking to other men about these things, it makes you feel vulnerable. It makes you feel uneasy and soft. Then do it on your own. Work through these things. It can take days, weeks, months. But struggle through it on your own until you get to that point where you go, okay, these things, I've now either hit a blockage that I can't move through, or I've come through this. Let me share this. And where you go for asking for help, you don't sit in a group of people, you talk to an individual and you get it resolved. Where you've gone through it and you can start sharing, as you then said, you're such a stronger, much stronger man that you feel comfortable sharing these things.
We have, I think, probably all over the place, there's a lot of men growing up and living in a similar situation to you in that they didn't have a father figure, either that he passed away or that he was completely absent or they just don't know him. Would you mind just sharing from your own experience? I recognize I'm kind of putting you on the spot in a personal place, but what was that? What kinds of things were you dealing with because of that?
Ooh, give me a second. Let me think through that.
Yeah.
There are things that your dad will do with you and your mom will do with you.
Yeah.
There's generally a natural divide of things. The things that I missed, to start very simple.
Yeah.
My rugby ball needed polishing.
Yeah.
Mom, help me polish, can you show me how to do this? And mom had to go find out to figure that, to come and tell me and things like that. It's those little things that just comes naturally from a father that you just miss. And it's also the lead that he provided in the household. On the other side of the scale, he doesn't necessarily need to sit at the top of the table, but you as a child look up to your father and you can see he's leading the family. He's not controlling the family, he's leading the family. And when that just disappears overnight, you have that in the back of your mind, but you go, okay, I'm becoming an adult now. Am I doing it right? Or am I doing it like it was in the 70s and the 80s? And is that still the right way? How do I lead now? Because I've had a very short period of example of how to lead. Those are the kind of things that, and one thought that just crosses my mind. Your mom will go, oh, let me put a plaster on. Your dad will slap you on the back and go, good man, get on with it, that kind of thing. So, and it's those kind of things. I was blessed that I had an older brother, or still have an older brother, who kind of took the role on, although he was out of school and away from home. But when he was home, he would do those kind of things. He wasn't shy of slapping me on the back,
Well, I appreciate you digging into some of that stuff because I know it's I'm sure it's a deeply personal thing for you, but also I know it applies to a lot of men that we work with, a lot of men that will listen to this podcast that are probably in a similar space and maybe haven't even asked those questions. Hey, what are the things that I'm missing? How can I deal with this? I would assume through some of this processing that you've done over the last couple of years, how did you reconcile those things? Like, okay, I didn't have a dad. I was concerned about this. How are you dealing with those things today?
I spoke to quite a few people. Once I came through the process and off the bottom, I spoke to quite a few clubs like your own. And then therapists. There was one particular person, he was from the University of Winchester, just down the road from me here. And he was a man's therapist. He wouldn't talk to anybody if you haven't gone through this process, not this particular process, but he would describe it in a way as in, are you here? Because then I can talk to you. Then I can help you because this is my niche of area. So I spoke to him about that, and lovely thing about them, it's always a walk around. There's never a sit at the table and talk. It's always a walkabout. So to answer the question, I've spoken to a lot of people and got a lot of advice. But my idea of talking to these people was to bounce my ideas off them. I've dealt with this, I've come across this, and then bounce the ideas back and forth. And I would say about, at least 50% was, let's do that, that's fine. But the other 50%, other people, other men, other people that you talk to, etc., just that slight different insight into what you think you should do. Give that slight different insight and it changes a little bit of the direction and it puts you on a better path. And that's, again, where groups like your own and the one I've mentioned earlier on comes into play.
It's interesting because Men of Iron started 20 years ago, just with 10 guys that wanted to mentor 10 other guys. And it's all based on the proverb. It's Proverbs 27:17 from the Bible. It's as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And the reason we love that passage is because it's so easy for us to live in isolation. Like I like that you're highlighting, it's not bad to figure out some of these things in your own head and in your own space. It's actually a good thing to start to ask yourself hard questions and try to get some insight from your own life. But it's also fantastic to start to bounce that off of other people. We say specifically other men. It's not because we don't want perspectives from women. It's just there's really something powerful about another man, maybe another man that's been in a similar circumstance, that can say, hey, you're on the right track there. Like you're dealing with some good stuff. Here's how I handled that, or here's what I've seen other men go through. Maybe you should try dealing with it this way. And it really does take you from, I think, and even my own experience, it takes you from kind of living in your own head, like I think I've got some things figured out, to getting some outside perspective that can actually make you a lot sharper. You'll think about things you've never thought about before. You'll be encouraged to go some ways you've never thought about going before. And it's just an incredibly positive thing. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. One thing I just want to add there is when you start looking at inside yourself, and you find these things that trigger you and, unresolved things and so on. When you start handling them, the one thing that I've found, most of the time I was truthful to myself.
Yeah.
Other times you lie to yourself.
Yeah.
That's just pointless. You gotta rise in truth. Otherwise you just, you're gonna come halfway up and fall 3 steps down again. You gotta be honest with yourself.
Yep.
Otherwise, it'll be a longer struggle.
I'll tell you a personal story of my own, since you're trading me all your personal stories. Literally yesterday, I was talking with somebody through some stuff from my life. And I came home, I was having dinner with my wife, and I was like, man, I had a great conversation today. I was bouncing these things off this other person, and they gave me some really good insights, and I think I'm doing pretty well. The first thing she asks is, are you actually telling the truth to these people, or are you not being honest? Because I want you to be honest. And it was like, really? Come on. I really want you to pat me on the back and say good job. But I love what you're saying. Like you've got to be honest with yourself. And I know from my own life, I'm really good at being dishonest to myself. And it is some of those other perspectives, other people, particularly people that have known me for a long time, that can be like, what are you talking about? That's not true. You're not like that. It helps me a lot.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's pivot here a little bit. Your book is Strong Enough to Fall, specifically about masculinity today. What do you think is misunderstood about masculinity today? Like, where are we at?
What we misunderstood about masculinity at the moment is, I touched on it earlier on, is people out there feel that masculinity is the big angry man shouting, screaming, controlling things. Yeah. Whereas modern masculinity is, no, I'm present. Mm-hmm. I'm strongly present. I'm not controlling things, I'm leading things. Mm-hmm. And that's where the difference comes in. Your traditional, I wouldn't call it traditional masculinity, but when I grew up, dad, uncles, older brothers, you do what you're told to do.
Yeah.
You are being controlled in the way that they want you to be controlled. In today's modern society, we can't do that. It doesn't work anymore. That level of masculinity doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Unless you step back, become present in yourself, you can't be present in the situation. And if you're not that, you can't lead it properly. Mm-hmm. And that's what I believe is the misunderstanding at the moment.
So it's actually understanding yourself well and not trying to live out like a caricature or like some pretend image. I think we both kind of highlighted on just this like brute strength for brute strength's sake. That's not to say that strength is a bad thing. I mean, actually, I think setting out to be strong can be a really good thing. But using strength to just blow through people and run over other people and just not care, it's always hurtful, and it hurts yourself and it hurts the people around you.
Absolutely.
You're making me think of I had another conversation with a guy last week. He's in the Marine Corps. And he's a young guy trying to start to figure out just his own family. And he asked me just point blank, what's a man supposed to do? Which is, it's not the easiest question on a 20-minute phone call. I told him one of the things I've been thinking through is I think men are called to be priests, protectors, and providers. And so a priest is somebody who represents God to his family and his people. And that's not, you say priest, you think of a dude with a collar and lives in a church or something, but it's actually just representing well who God's made you to be and what role God's called you to play, in your family. I recognize not everybody has a big family.
Yeah.
There's going to be single guys that listen to this, but just walking out well who God has called you to be. And the way that we define that is, God lays out a lot of expectations for men in the Bible, and it helps us to know who to be and how we should be. And a lot of times it's not brute strength. It's actually caring for your kids, loving your wife, leading your family. Protector is really keeping an eye out on what's going around you and your family. And he's a young guy, he's in the Marines. He's like, oh no, that means like you gotta fight, you gotta defend. It's like, yeah, there's some piece to defending, but it's very likely that you're not gonna need to get into a fight every day of your life. So protector is just understanding who you are, who the people are around you, and how you can make sure that you and those people around you are living their best, fullest, most meaningful life. And obviously you're setting them up to succeed and removing, threats from whatever that is. But sometimes that's social media. It's not necessarily somebody that's going to try to break down your door and come into your house.
Indeed, yeah.
And then on that provider piece, it's that if you are a man and you have a family that is like, you have a roof over everybody's house. You have food on the table. There is a role that we play, but I don't think it's this stereotypical, this is my house and you better do what I say in it. It's actually, how is this a peaceful place where people can thrive, and how can we care for those people?
I agree with you 100% there. And when you say protector and provider and things like that, the protection in my head of the family and the family unit is we have a set of values in here.
Yeah.
This is what we live, and it's not the physical protection, yes, that can come in as well.
Sure.
But it's that level of thing, what are our values? What are our principles? And it's providing the protection for that.
Yeah.
That keeps a family safe and happy as well.
And I think there's probably two pieces there, in that when something's happened and that is against our values, I can call it out and I can draw attention to it. But also when I'm doing something that's against our values, you can call me out, and that's okay, because we're all growing and striving to be better than we are today.
Now what you just said there is modern masculinity.
Yeah.
As the leader of the house, you are saying to people, call me out. Mm-hmm. Call me out when I do things that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And that is the difference between masculinity and modern masculinity.
Mm-hmm. It's really that accountability that helps us to grow, to be better, stronger, more effective men. And I think you probably see some of that at Andy's Man Club. I know we see a lot of it in the groups that we run, where we're gonna invite accountability. We're gonna recognize that none of us are perfect. None of us are this, beautiful image of exactly what a man is supposed to be. We all have room to grow. And if I'm inviting you to call me out, that means I can call you out, and we're gonna respect each other and grow together. And it's actually a really positive, valuable thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you are right. Yeah. And there are sometimes some of the people who come to the group will say, I know we're talking about accountability. I don't want to be accountable tonight. I just want to offload. Mm-hmm. So you recognize that as well, and you know where that person comes from, and you let them be. But come the next time, they're back on par, and you can go again. So it's very much the communication thing as well. That's so important.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we talk to a lot of American guys. We're obviously here in the United States doing what we do. I'm curious what you're seeing with men where you are. What's going on with guys in the UK right now?
There are two camps.
Okay.
The English culture is very reserved.
Okay.
So for anybody, not just men, but for anybody to actually talk openly about feelings and this upset me and things like that, culturally, it's not a massive thing. But we know it, and that's how we operate. Yeah. But since I started diving into this, and this happened to me, and I wrote it and so on, I started realizing that there are two camps of people, actually, and specifically on the male side, two camps. The stoic, traditional stoic kind of person who will, this is who I am, I will not share anything with you, it's got nothing to do with you, I will deal with it myself, versus the guys that I bump into the club. They've had enough of that. They just got to the end of the tether, and now they're spilling over. And some people can handle it. Some people get to that point and go, this is enough. I need to talk about. And that's the kind of thing that I see in the UK here, you know. It is, I need to personally be very observant, let me use that word.
Yeah.
Who I share with that I wrote this. I'm lucky, I work for an electricity company here. You know, and they have a what they call mentality.
Okay.
As in mental health for men. Mentality.
Yeah.
And I joined the little what they call discussion cafes, as they call it. I joined in there, and this is now 3 months in, and I take part in the conversations, but I've not shared with them this yet.
Yeah.
It's a very fine tune that you need to take, you know, a fine line that you need to cross before you can introduce something like this. But that's a cultural thing, you know. It's not wrong or right or anything like that. That's just the culture of who the people are.
Yeah.
If you ask me about South Africa, it's everybody goes, "Man, you're a man. You shut up. You do what you get on with it."
Yeah.
You know, put it away. We don't want to hear it. Move on. Over here, it's a 50-50 thing. You know, half the men start going, nah, I got to talk to people about this.
Yeah. Do you think that's a growing thing where you are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very much the case, yes. And I'm sometimes quite surprised in the forums where I mention, you know, you start talking about just touching on subjects. And then there's somebody who you didn't expect at all. And they just bloop out something and you go, oh, I can have a long discussion with you about this.
Yeah.
So, you go to the theater, go for a musical or something like that. And in the audience, you know, halftime, you know, or break time, you have a bit of a drink and chat to people. And all of a sudden, this arbitrary person starts talking about this. You go, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, it is definitely growing.
I was just going to highlight, I think it's growing here as well. I think there's like a growing desire for men to be more open, I think more healthy, and ultimately, I think, like we've said, I think actually more effective as men. So I think there's been kind of this, I guess, some of this idea that we should just be quiet and take it and, you know, do what you're told. And I think there's a growing sense of there's got to be more to life than where we are and what we're doing and how we're doing it. So I'm encouraged by it. I think it sounds like you're seeing some of the same things.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. People are, they're so tuned into their own lives and they're so entrenched in what they are doing that they don't see the wood for the trees anymore. But when I do start talking to people about this, and, you know, I just touch on the subject, you know, how do you feel? No, I mean, how do you feel? Not, yeah, I'm fine, work's fine. And that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, how are you? And all of a sudden they go, neck goes out of joint a bit, you know, as in, ooh, did you actually ask me that question? Yeah. And until, you know, and that's what I'm trying to do on my mission, you know, to talk to people, to start looking at, let's look back into ourselves, you know. I know you're a busy man. I know you're a successful guy. Yeah. But are you happy, or are you just echoing inside?
That's great. Well, Dan, I appreciate the conversation. I'm just curious, like, as we wrap up, is there anything that you would have in mind that you want to leave with our audience just to encourage our guys?
Well, obviously, read the book if you get to that, or when you get to that. But the one thing that I mentioned it earlier on, but this is the one thing that I say to myself on a daily basis. Tell the truth. Be truthful to yourself. When you say you did miss your dad, or you've acted like this then, and you figured out why, be truthful to you. Don't just put it under the carpet again. It will come and bite you again. Mm-hmm. So rise in truth and not masking it up again, as well as I've done throughout my whole life.
Well, I think you're in plenty of good company. I think many of us have done exactly that for a lot of years.
Thank you.
I think just starting to be honest with ourselves helps us to start to change those patterns. And, there could be painful stuff in there, but it's also painful to just keep lying, keep the mask on, and keep making the same mistakes over and over again.
Absolutely, yes.
All right. Well, thanks, Dan, for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it. And just one more time, the name of the book and where our guys can find it.
It's on Amazon and Draft to Digital.
Okay.
As well. And the book title is Strong Enough to Fall, The Art of Balancing Vulnerability with Modern Masculinity.
Awesome.
Ryan, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks again, guys, for listening to the Men of Iron podcast. I encourage you go check out Dan's book. I appreciate his perspective today. I think it's valuable to all of us. I think a lot of us have been in similar places and spaces. And so check out the book, Strong Enough to Fall. You can find it on Amazon. Again, you don't have to go through life alone. We just talked about that quite a bit in our conversation. It's great to think through the things that you're struggling with, dealing with. It's great to think about why and where those things are coming from. But when you're ready to start to talk to somebody else about it, we want to help you in that journey. If you think you would benefit from having a mentor, please reach out to us at Men of Iron. We'd be happy to talk to you. We'd be happy to help you even over the phone. And ultimately, we want to help to find you a mentor because it will make a difference in your life. And that's ultimately how Men of Iron sets out to change a culture one man at a time. Thanks for listening to the podcast today. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks for listening to the Men of Iron podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. At Men of Iron, we exist to change a culture one man at a time, and we'd love to have you partner with us. So go to menofiron.org to see how you can get involved, or donate at menofiron.org/donate.
This episode of the Men of Iron podcast has been sponsored by Garmin Builders. Garmin Builders sets the standard in home construction. With more than 50 years of expertise, Garmin Builders has been building homes, communities, and connections that positively impact the lives of others. By blending tradition with innovative building science, Garmin delivers a better built, more efficient home. Discover the edge at GarminBuilders.com. Thanks again to Garmin Builders for sponsoring this episode of the Men of Iron podcast.